Hopefully it's under attack. I could use a good fight.
Greetings, if it's your first time, if it's not, welcome back. This is the Grinding Gear Podcast. I'm Garrett, here triumphantly, once again, even though you heard him last week, but that was pre-recorded, so it's been a while, with Kyle Ferguson.
Hello, it's good to be back.
Welcome back, my 2 times baby buddy.
Yeah, the paternity leave was quick, and it is over. We polled our audience, by the way, to see how many of you all are parents in the live stream, and 15% of you, so 15% of this show will be baby stories. I'm gonna sprinkle it throughout, though. But no, it's really good to be back.
Here's the thing, though: 100% of that audience are interested in Kyle Ferguson's stories.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, you've got that going for you.
You could also be here for, you know, the World of Warcraft talk, the video game news, the Final Fantasy discussions. There are many reasons why, and that's why I'll keep it to that 15% for y'all out there. But it's good to be here. I'm of course temporarily insane, as all parents are. As the sleep slowly leaks out.
That makes 2 of us because, dude, I am less than a week away. I am 6 days away from being done with my master's.
Nice.
It is absolute hell week here in the Coeurl household. There is so much junk going on. I'm finishing school. We got like every car we own, which is 2, needs an oil change. We've got dentist appointments next week. I stupidly bought concert tickets a while ago for a concert this weekend, you know, because I don't need time to finish up stuff for school or anything. And of course, I'm the fool that won't let good concert tickets go to waste. It's been a while since I've seen AFI. I can't let that.
You're talking
lapse.
a different world, man. You're talking a different world. Like I could tell you about going to the library or you know, properly facilitating screen time for limited hours on the weekends.
Let me tell you about how, the life of being a hedonistic, childless adult.
It sounds busy. Don't stress yourself out too much with all that relaxing.
After next week, dude, I'm gonna just be like living in sweatpants for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play so many video games. I'm gonna be an absolute degen. But yeah, man. I mean, we talk off air, but I'm sure the listeners out there want to know, how did it go? How was having your second?
It was insane. We hung out at the house a lot longer this time. And that means we had the classic Hollywood drive to the hospital, where we arrived with 30 minutes to go. I had to go drop off kid number 1, a 3-year-old, with my sister. And I was ushered down the hall with like 0 security checks, like just the door flying open, being like, "You're the dad, right? You're the father?" And I was like, "Yeah, to somebody." And they're like, "Good, this way, go, run." And I arrived. Moments to spare.
Damn.
Yeah, so we speed ran that hospital event. And
I got a text from you that said, quote, "Dude, it was like the movies. We barely made it."
Yeah, it was nuts. But everyone's happy and healthy. You know, little Ian was born. We got what was 8 pound, 8.9 or something like that. So not the absolute 10-4 of the OG child, but man, yeah, it was good. It was good. Everyone's doing great. The time sped by while I was away. I enjoyed some Persona 5. The Hearthstone Battlegrounds were actually like the perfect pace for, you know, having a baby on your lap. So I played a lot of that.
Hell yeah, man. I'm glad to hear that. I haven't played Battlegrounds in a bit. I've been playing Standard, and we're like, what, less than a week away now from the freaking Death Knights coming to Hearthstone, which I'm still excited about.
Yeah.
It's next week, dude.
Oh.
I think it's Tuesday. I don't think I said it so many damn times while casting. You think it would have burned into my memory but I'm fairly certain it's December 6th.
Well, hey, let's ride that transition here. How was hosting a Hearthstone official Blizzard television production?
It was awesome and terrifying.
Can we get footage of this? Like, where is it living?
Yeah, it's on the official Hearthstone YouTube channel. I listen. I'm gonna get paid for this, so I don't get anything extra from telling you to go watch it.
Oh, you don't get kickbacks? You're not no action figures?
No, I didn't negotiate points on the back end.
Oh, rough, buddy.
I think I'm allowed to say that.
Wait, where? What? Well, this is,
if you go to their official channel is just called Hearthstone. So you go to youtube.com/Hearthstone.
Okay, I don't know how to navigate their content. They have a lot of stuff. They've got a lot of content creators doing stuff, it seems.
Yes, they do. Did they hide it? Now I'm having trouble finding it.
Yeah, this is from 2 months ago. I mean, clearly the hype machine is rolling, but yeah, 1 day ago for the Lobby Legends something or other. Maybe I go to their live. Here we go. The show match. Yeah, looks like they left it under their live.
Yeah.
Oh wait, were you in a couch and all that?
I had a leather chair.
Oh damn! I'm gonna put this up on screen.
Had a leather chair. Yeah, there's not. I mean, you blink and you'll miss me because it was I was on screen with my buddy Slissa for a few minutes here and there, but other than that the first day was over 7 straight hours of casting games.
Okay, let me find the countdown here. I wanna see you in the chair. I wanna see you on the set. Here we go. Oh yeah, you look great, man. Look at that. You got a little the fake candles, but it get a little chaotic with real fire. I'm sure.
Dude, I'm so glad they were fake candles. You know how many times I put my foot over one of those things?
Yeah, I'm sure. I have no doubt. Were you like? I have completely just like basic level questions for you. Were you in the couches the whole time, like watching on little screens, or did you go over to like a desk or? Once the event started up, like what were you doing?
We had monitors like in front of us that showed us what the stream was seeing. So like we had a live feed at all times, so we knew when we were on camera, we knew when the game was up, and we could have. They told us, they're like, listen, if you don't see you can do whatever you want because we're on the lapel mic. They're like, if you want to stand up, if you want to get close to the screen, this is like, which I thought was really cool. I've never been on this side of a production. I've done hosting things for Blizzard before. It was always at BlizzCon, and it's nothing like this, and I've never cast it. So, yeah, originally they were like, yeah, you get up, you want to get closer so you can see what cards they have. And both Sliss and I were like, can we just have laptops so we can go into the observer mode and actually look at cards? So that's why we got laptops in front of us. So I ended up barely moving. Yeah. The only time I really moved was full speed running to the restroom in between breaks.
Sure.
That was the only time I really moved.
Oh, this is
because most of the breaks were like 2 minutes, so I was just hauling ass to the urinal. It was an experience.
You got your little blazer on, yeah, t-shirt blazer combo. You look professional, my man. Look at this.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, dude. It was a really freaking cool experience. A lot of people in my personal life have heard the story. It was like there were a lot of parts of the production that I hadn't done before. So we had a rehearsal, and it was rough. My first few goes at this when we were practicing were not my best work, and and so I got used to the way they do things because hopefully it didn't seem like it, but basically the whole thing's ad-libbed. Like there's a order of everything to go in, but there's not a script. There's not like, hey, go explain the format, and then they give you a script of the format. It's like you got the graphic they show, and that's kind of it. So we had to study the format. I knew a decent amount of the players because there were actually a lot of legacy players that I know from like when I was really invested in Hearthstone esports, but then there were also new ones. So I was studying up on the players and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, no, dude, I had a massive emotional reaction after the first day. Like I got a little misty eyed because I haven't done Hearthstone content for a bit. I've been playing the game, but haven't made anything in a while. So I was bracing for just like a tidal wave of who's this nerd? This guy sucks. He quit. Yada yada yada. And after the first day, 7+ hours of Hearthstone, I go and I'm just like, I can't. I'm a creature. I had to check Twitter.
No, you
It was
can't
nothing
not. Yeah.
It was nothing but compliments.
That's great.
And at that exact moment when I look up from my phone, I finished going through my notifications. Hearthstone community manager came out to congratulate us, and I just started tearing up.
Aw.
I couldn't help it. I really felt like, because the rehearsal was rough for me. I had to learn a lot of new things very quickly, and then at the end of that first day, man, I really felt like I did something. Like I accomplished something. Yeah, it was cool. I'm really stoked for the opportunity. Like, I know everyone says that and it sounds canned and cheesy, but like, it meant a lot to me to get to go do this event.
When you were straight up casting,
cool.
like this was like play by play, what card is being dispensed, why it's interesting. I remember, I think both times I turned in, you were both talking about stickiness, like the stickiness of cards, and that's a real sticky card.
Yeah, well, the Reborn is back in like full force, and we haven't seen new Reborn. Yeah, we haven't seen new Reborn cards in a while, but I mean, it is literally a Lich King like Scourge themed expansion. So bringing back the minions that die and then resurrect themselves mechanic really makes a lot of sense. And then I think you and I already talked about it a little bit with Death Knight coming. The Death Knights have like their own new like kind of death like graveyard adjacent mechanic. Like when things die, you get a corpse counter. And so just Death Knights have this little corpse counter underneath your mana count. So when you've got those Reborn minions, it's just fuel for that corpse counter.
Oh, I see it down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's freaking cool. And then there's a few cards that are like resurrect your corpses, but then those minions don't give you corpses back. They have like the Risen tag, and there's a little like text on the card that says you don't get a corpse from this.
Okay.
So you can't just go infinite.
Sure.
Like you can't generate corpses and then cash those corpses in for new minions and then get corpses off those minions you generated.
You got to control it. I get that. No, I totally, like, from the outside, I'm sure with that many people around you, like a whole production going, the format, which any esports format, particularly anything that gets into like double elimination or actual brackets, is always super confusing and overwhelming, even as an audience member. But I remember when we started doing StarCast, any of this esports coverage, before Twitch was a thing, before streaming was a thing, before really financially supporting content creators was a thing at all, casting was always the end goal. Like, no matter if you were doing this, the way you were going to survive and make this a full-time job was to get into casting. So how cool, like, after all these years, to see you up there doing that, doing the play-by-play.
No, thanks, man. It was cool to be up there doing the play-by-play.
Yeah.
It was like, holy crap. And also just like, I have mad respect now for, I mean, I had mad respect, but I've got like I had no idea. Like it was a proper studio we were in, like multi cameras, a lot of different people, like dedicated sound staff, producers, people running the like a proper production board to like swap scenes in real time. Because the whole thing's freaking live. I think they were running on a slight delay, but that doesn't matter from the purposes of like actually producing a live event. It's just you see it on a very minor delay. It's nuts. I couldn't believe it. I was like, any crew member that was down for a hug got a hug from me.
Yeah.
Like damn. Yeah, it was cool. It was really neat. I 10 out of 10 would do it again.
Yeah, man. That's great. That's cool. Life events all around.
Yeah. Oh geez. I just looked over. Look at my hair was something.
Oh, it's fabulous, man. You look great. You have a presence
out there.
You have a presence.
I don't know if steal's the right word, but I did take home a few of those cards. I'm going to frame them. Yeah, it was nuts, man. It was
Nice.
nuts. Also, I miss California food. Big time.
Yeah, California has some pretty decent food. Yeah.
I got in so late and I had a 30-minute connection I had to make. So I was on a plane all day with no food because I didn't have enough time to get food on my connection. I ended up having an In-N-Out burger at 3 a.m. in my hotel bed.
That's how it goes. I mean, that's how BlizzCon goes. So I can only assume the rest of the parts. Yeah, man. That's cool. That's really cool. Well, what a Blizzard-tastic month you've had.
Yeah, dude. Didn't see this coming.
No.
Didn't see this coming at all. But speaking of which, do you want to? Well, actually, you know what I do see coming. You know what I do see coming, Kyle?
What?
Wonderful support. from our patrons.
I agree.
Over at supportourbromance.com.
Hell yeah.
If you like what Kyle and I do week in, week out, making this podcast, maybe you like our YouTube videos, maybe you like our live streams, maybe you're into all of it. Well, you can support all of it over at supportourbromance.com. That will just take you directly to our Patreon. And if you want to support us, you can do so over there. You'll get yourself perks like access to our members-only Discord channels and a thanks on the show. Certain levels you get thanked each and every week. Certain levels you get behind-the-scenes perks. Go check it out. Supportourbromance.com. Also, you won't hear this anymore. I'll cut it out for you. It'll be ad-free. An ad-free Grinding Gear podcast experience.
Well done.
So thanks. Appreciate it.
Now,
Kyle.
Now.
Would you like to get into this week's news, which is also just going to be a big bundle of what we've been playing?
Yes.
Let's Dragonfly over there.
Good. Oh, great news, everyone. Shove it.
Dragonflight is out. You and I tried to play it.
Yes, we did.
The launch was not great. And that's not shade. Listen, I just kind of expect MMO launches to go poorly.
Yeah, no surprise.
I think Shadowlands was good, though, if I remember correctly.
I feel like that's the case. I didn't pay attention, actually, just not playing it, missing it completely. But, they caused a bottleneck. And what they had was ships for the Alliance and Zeppelins for the Horde that were to take you to the Dragon Isles. And it was a rather, good show when you actually pulled it off, pulling in and seeing the darkened,
I still haven't
sky.
seen it because they hotfixed in a portal.
Yeah.
They hotfixed in a portal. And if you use the portal, which for a bit, Zeppelins just weren't show. We were playing Horde. If anyone wants to play with us, by the way, we're Earthen Ring, Horde side. That's what we're doing. Horde side, a little instance shout out there. But yeah, so you and I, this is Monday. We did a Final Fantasy. We streamed Final Fantasy for a while, and then we were like, all right, it's time. Dragonflight, they're flipping the switch. Let's head over to WoW and
That's
see what
the way
the
it was
launch is
sold
like.
to us, is a flip switch. Like, there was no everyone log out, log in. It was merely that everything was installed, and supposedly all they were doing is turning on the Zeppelin.
Well, they've done it before. They did. Shadowlands was like this as well, where you could just be in the game that day, and at some awful hour, like 6 p.m. for us on the East Coast, they would just be like, "Expansion's out." I guess 6 p.m. is actually a pretty good hour because if you have a job, you're probably home now. But anyway, so we did that, and it did technically work. Technically, the suddenly you could go to the Dragon Isles, but you're right. It caused a bottleneck, and the Zeppelin just never showed up. And so they hotfixed in a portal. We tried it like 20 times, never got through. Whatever number click I had finally worked for me, but you could never get through. And then the portal disappeared, but the Zeppelin didn't show back up.
Yeah. It's a cool idea. Like, I like the idea on paper of sending people in waves rather than having this constant spawn. When I got in later that night, it was neat. I just kind of chilled and sat on the beaches. It was more like a lava flow, but I sat on the edge of the Dragon Isles and watched the ship land and unleash these waves of players that would immediately start grabbing up all the quests, running through, killing everything. But it gave it this cadence, for lack of a better word. It gave it this energy as everyone kept appearing. For some reason, they made the boat arrival sound the exact same sound as the work's done in Frostpunk. So like every 5 minutes, I'm having a Frostpunk flashback, which, not particularly a fun game, but hey, sound design does things. And
I am such an absolute Frostpunk hater. I do not understand the attraction to that game.
No,
it's not even a particularly good strategy game, on top of the fact that it's not fun.
It's not a strategy
game.
It's
so on rails.
Yeah,
it's so freaking on rails.
It's a tower defense. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a despair themed tower defense.
It's a despair factory.
Yeah. Which I enjoy. Yeah, I love Darkest Dungeon 1. Still can't say that about 2 yet. Hopefully someday. But anyway, back to Dragon Isles. Yeah, no, I got in. So we talked a little bit before I was coming back, and we realized that my return day after Thanksgiving holiday was going to be Dragonflight release day. So I was spurred on by also being wrong for a lot of WoW facts that I unleash in our videos. 4-year-old information practically that I'm sharing as my opinion of WoW.
And honestly, all of your priest opinions are older than that.
Yeah. Well, investigative journalism took over, and I made myself a Drakthir. Originally, actually, I tried to start up my priest, and it fired up inside Zuldazar. Is that the name of it from BFA?
The pink pyramid.
Yeah, was it pink? No, it was gold. It was a gold pyramid.
It's pink.
Is it? What is this like?
Pink stone, dude.
A dress,
look it up.
A dress situation? I thought it was gray and gold. Yeah, we've got ourselves a dress
some
situation.
Gold, but it pink.
Anyway, I fired it up. It started playing the BFA song. I just quit. Like I couldn't even look at this like home of burnout from years ago. So I started up Drakthir. I really like my character. Everyone else is stupid, but me. I have become emotionally attached to my little dragonling and his coolness. I think he's badass. I think Thundarius is an excellent example of what you can do with the character creator. He is a handsome devil.
Yeah, we talked. We mentioned this on stream a few times, but I think the day before Thanksgiving went in and made a Drakthir, and I thought they looked dumb as hell when they announced them. And I also thought Evoker looked just completely made up and just like, oh, another caster. Who gives a shit? Like I was a grump.
Right? Are you filling out the game there? Yeah, surely we need more range DPS in the game. I mean, they can't be a healer. They can be a healer.
Has a healing spec. Has a healing spec in their defense.
Which is all stolen from Alex Straza Here's the Storm, in my opinion.
She is the life binder. Yeah. She's been that way. She's been healing shit in World of Warcraft long before she was healing shit in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
So you just think it better. I know why you think better in Heroes of the Storm. I know why.
Okay, I really like her character design. I thought as the life giver,
Yeah. You really like the character design.
Yeah. I mean, she still has no ears, which is the weirdest part. Like just no elf ears. They just didn't have room on the character design for Alex Ross. But I do think Heroes of the Storm is the epitome of all characters. It was Jaina when she was happy. It was Uther when he was alive. It was, like every character they designed for Heroes of the Storm was that character at their peak.
I disagree with you on Jaina. I think peak Jaina is BFA, and they never added a BFA Jaina skin.
Skin-wise, I don't really want to hang out with BFA Jaina. She was, kind of.
You didn't finish it. She became she like kind of healed her soul and became a leader again.
I didn't like when she arrived on the flying boat. That was a little much for me.
Oh, I like that bit. I like that. The more I think about BFA in retrospect, I really enjoy it. And a lot of people are like, that happens with every WoW expansion. In a few years, you'll be saying about Shadowlands. And I'm like, no, I won't. Shadowlands is horrible.
That's I do have people like being like, hey, you should do Maldraxxus. Like at the very least, go back and do Maldraxxus.
Oh, well, I agree with that. The zones are fine. The zones are cool enough. Maldraxxus is probably my favorite one. It's if you've ever painted a plague marine in 40K, you're gonna love Maldraxxus. But yeah, I'm just like, listen, I get it. I get it. The beginning of every World of Warcraft expansion is like this. All of us are like, oh man, it's so cool. Look at this. It's so much fun. The true test of World of Warcraft is in the long tail. Like we don't know. We don't know if Dragonflight is going to be a good expansion or not. We're not going to know that until the end. However, I do think the beginning here, the early stuff, because I have gotten in and played a little bit more. How far are you? Did you get your dragon?
No, I farted off with like this really cute quest about like saving animals that were being tortured by elementals, and that led me to get lost trying to find like where Rathian was like hiding on top of the building, surrounded by a bunch of like Wrath of the Lich King giant people, but they're lava themed.
Okay.
And then I started messing with talents again because I didn't like the way I was pulling things. So, it's a slow process. It's a laborious process. When is that? Like, so if I'm here like helping Rathian and Fox Dragon hang out, am I close?
30 minutes maybe.
Okay, so make that 3 hours for me. Okay, I'm getting close. I'm getting
Stop
close.
doing so they've marked main quests now like the MSQ. They started doing that in Shadowlands, so you can just avoid everything else.
I know, but there was literally like spinning hippos and like ducks being splashed with water, and I was like, "What the hell's going on over here?" You know, I followed my whimsy.
I'm not saying don't go have fun. If you're enjoying that, go for it. I'm just saying if you're like, oh, that's so far. If your reaction is, oh, that's so far away, my answer to you is just streamline it. So when you see the rectangle with the pointy arrow at the bottom, that's a main quest.
Yeah, well, and they got the little campaign box over to the side, so you can know kind of what's on the main path. But
yeah. But
your point. You asking if I got to a certain point, so there's some sort of
yeah, because I got my dragon. I mostly mainline. I didn't do very many side quests, and I went and I got my dragon, and then so this is why I think Dragonflight is something special right out the gate. Like here's what I can speak to the Dragonflight early stage. It's just fun to play. There's just things to do because they're fun to do, not because they're a chore. At least to me, they don't feel like a chore I have to do to like get renown or whatever. Renown is still in there and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want to get far ahead of you because once school's over, we're gonna start streaming WoW on Fridays, and I figure. I don't know. We actually haven't had a conversation, but in my head, I'm assuming we're going to try and stay roughly around the same level, right?
Probably. I mean, I'm notoriously slow, so if you feel the need, like you could probably make a second character and keep it where I'm at. I fart off so much.
Cool. Well, whatever the case is, we hadn't had a conversation, and I was like, well, I don't want to get too far ahead of Kyle, but I've got my dragon now.
Not a dragon person, a dragon for riding.
I have my dragon that you can ride because dragon riding is one of the big features of this expansion. It is nothing like flying before. I'm not going to give the wholesale speech. You probably already know. Beyond knowing we get dragons and flying is different and like an active piece of gameplay rather than just point and go straight. I know nothing about this expansion. I haven't looked into it at all. Shadowlands really burned me, not to mention usually when I over-research WoW expansions, I get burned out a lot faster. So pretty fresh to all of this. Get my dragon. Turns out there's all kinds of collectibles and things you can do once you get your dragon. Because when you get it, you don't have a lot of customization for your dragon out the gate. You kind of have the same dragon everyone else has, but you unlock more customization. There's like little hidden dragon glyphs just around the map. So like you go flying, you'll see like a gold kind of coin looking thing with a dragon emblem on it, hidden in nooks and crannies or at the peaks of mountains and stuff. And you just collect them. And as you collect them, they start to unlock more customization options for your dragon.
So it's like Fallen Order then. Like you find boxes.
It's a little bit,
BD-8
Fallen Order, Spider-Man games, Feathers, and Assassin's Creed, though I think a lot more fun than that. I like the collectibles in Spider-Man because moving around New York in Spider-Man is fun. And I feel much the same way about flying my dragon in Dragonflight. It's just fun to just move around, move around the city, move around the map. And so I almost have all the coins from the first zone already because I didn't want to get far ahead of you. So I went and did that. And there's races. There's dragon races.
Like chocobo races? Like they're
So I haven't done
PvP?
a chocobo race in Final Fantasy.
Okay.
I haven't done a chocobo race, so I don't know. Have you done a chocobo race?
I have chocobo
Are they against
race.
other people?
Yes. It's like Mario Kart.
Okay, this is not against other people. It is like a time attack. There's a time to beat, and you can give gold, silver, or bronze.
Okay.
And normally, I hate races in games that aren't racing games. Normally, I don't even like racing in Grand Theft Auto. Pretty good car driving in Grand Theft Auto games, still hate the races. Not a racing game, don't want to interface with your racing. And much the same reason I haven't done a chocobo race in Final Fantasy yet. I love the racing in Dragonflight.
Okay.
So again, didn't want to get too far ahead of you. Kyle, I've gotten gold on every single dragon race in the opening zone.
Is that a show of investment of time or just how good you are?
I think there's like 10 of them. I've done them all, and I did a lot of them a lot of times until I got a gold rating.
So here's the question. What did you get for it?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I don't care.
Okay.
And I think that's really exciting.
Right, because that's the crux of the issues in the past is that something could be fun like Torghast, but it had essential loot tied to it. And so if you can do something literally for fun or for cosmetics, like upgrading your dragon's horns or whatever. Okay, that's down the right path. That's down the right path.
Yes, that's the thing. Normally, I'd be like, oh, I feel bad. I haven't researched this. I don't actually know what I get from it. But I think the fact that I know nothing about what I get from this and I'm just doing it anyway is a major positive in my mind.
Games for fun.
Exactly.
It's for fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's how I play Final Fantasy 14. I've got a Dragoon to 45 while you were away. It wasn't even on my to-do list. My to-do list while you were gone was finish the Scholar questline in Final Fantasy 14, which I did. And then I found Yes, it was very good, by the way. Nice. Highly recommend it. Go do the Scholar questline.
Apparently you do all the good job quests and I do all the bad ones.
I've started the bad ones and I've stopped, which is why I don't have a machinist now and why I've avoided Red Mage, because it just does nothing for me aesthetically.
Red Mage is okay. Red Mage is all right.
I don't like the way they look. It's not for me. It's not for me.
It's too stylish for you.
Are you fencing or are you a spellcaster? Pick a lane.
No, both.
I don't want both.
Literally
both
enjoy
is
both.
Not good. I'd rather do a Red Mage than Machinist. I strong dislike. Like I was like, oh, I hate this, and I left, and I will probably never return. But yeah, Scholar is amazing. I did a whole stream where I learned how to heal in Final Fantasy. It's nuts. Scholar's kind of crazy. But I've done all of this just because I want to. I don't need any of this. I've got my Dark Knight. I'm good. Yeah, I've got a summoner. I've got a damage. I've got a tank. I don't really play healers. I'm good in Final Fantasy 14, but I'm having so much fun learning these different jobs, and I'm having so much fun going through the job quests over there. Some of them that I'm just doing. I don't. Yes, I want to play those jobs at max level, I need to go through that. So there is a carrot at the end of the stick that I understand, but it's not really why I'm doing it. And the same thing is over here in Dragonflight, and I've never really played WoW. It's very, I can't really think of that many times in World of Warcraft where I've just done things solely because I found them fun. I was almost always chasing something. And in here, I'm just chasing my own enjoyment and my own prowess with this new dragon that you can fly.
Can I race as a Drakthir, or do I have to ride a dragon?
I believe you have to ride a dragon because dragons, it's similar. The controls are similar to flying with your Drakthir, but it has this reserve recharge mechanic. Because on your Drakthir, I think maybe it gets better when you level up, but you can only flap twice.
Yeah.
If
and
you
a
can
4-minute cooldown.
With your dragon, you can recharge so you can get another flap back. And if you do it right, you can essentially recharge indefinitely. And the races are set up in a way, or if you do the course right, you've got as much as you could ever need, really.
Okay, so is there a cooldown on your dragon? Because my Drakthir can only fly soar every 4 minutes, which is a bummer.
Sort of. It's not a time thing. You've got these charges, and if you want to just fly straight up in the air, it takes a charge. If you want to surge forward and pick up speed, it costs a charge. And those are your two basic things. I believe you have two buttons as well on a Drakthir that do essentially the same thing. But it takes these charges, and if you're going fast, those charges start to recharge. And you just much like the Drakthir, the way you go fast is by pitching yourself downwards.
Right.
So if you maintain that speed over time, you will get charges back. And as you improve your dragon, level it up essentially, but it doesn't have levels in a traditional way. You have talents. You kind of spec out your dragon. You'll get more charges. So right now I have 4 charges, and you will have that too. I haven't gotten any extra other than what you start with. So there is a cooldown where if you run out of charges and you run out of altitude, you need to land. And as long as you're on the ground, you will also recharge slowly over time.
So I assume from a game design point, they have created limitations on flying so we can have flying in the game, but you can't reach certain areas because you'll never have enough charges at starting level.
Well, I got to the top of the tallest mountain in the starting zone by just waiting. I jumped to the furthest peak I could, and then I just waited. And then I jumped up even further because there was one of those tokens I told you about at the very tip top of that peak. And I didn't have enough charges to do it all in one go, but if I just took my time, I could do it. Probably not what they want you to do, but I was just like, I just want to see, like, is there anything stopping me from going and getting literally every single dragon glyph that's around the starting area with a starter dragon? And no, there isn't. All it takes is patience.
Yeah, you were vibing. You were vibing on a video game. And you were just
I was absolutely vibing. Yeah, I
Oh.
was in a flow state. I was vibing. I was just kind of seeing how far I could go. And I was just legitimately having a good time collecting these things.
Okay. I kind of don't want a dragon. I really my Drakthir doing with their own body. I like that part. I like it. That's me flying. I feel kind of awkward the idea of riding a dragon when I'm a dragon. And I don't.
Well,
I got wings.
it's time to switch to that shaman you wanted to play.
Yeah,
then.
I know. I want to. If I'm gonna do shaman, I want a Zandalari shaman because they have really nice totems. But my game is glitched because I quit mid BFA and my quests don't work to complete the war campaign, and I have to do that in order to unlock that. So shaman is waiting for my ticket to go through so I can actually talk to Rexar someday. But I'm a bit more sober on the idea of Dragonflight. I am, enjoying my Drakthir. I think it's a great infusion of fun for a game that could very easily be burned out on again, because I've tab targeted through World of Warcraft for many, many years, since 2005, and ultimately the graphics aren't so different. They've definitely improved naturally over time, but questing's not so different. The way quests are dished out, the story isn't riveting, and that's not my driving factor. I'm not really having this like, oh, one more quest feel. But Drakthir and the personality, the look of my Thundarius, it's propelling me. To me, and I said this in our video that we put out Wednesday, World of Warcraft is an action RPG, and leveling for me has always been one of the hardest parts of the game. It's just not what I'm there to do. I want to co-op. So in that way, I think Dragonflight will be more enjoyable when we're together. I'm doing it as a party game. A lot of people do this with Deep Rock Galactic, Heroes of the Storm, or any MOBA. Like, it's just not something they play alone. And I think without WoW having the story chops to propel me through, I'm kind of getting that feeling there. But I do enjoy feeling like I'm catching up to you, that we'll be able to play together soon enough when I've completed that. And the Drakthir, they're nice. They're nice. It's a nice and infusion.
Well, the next time we stream WoW, you should just put in that ticket for the thing your issue with unlocking the Zandalari while we play, and if someone gets back to you, it can just be this.
It's already
big
in there.
Momentous occasion.
It says it's going to take 48 days to get back to me.
48 days?
Yeah, because it escalates. So they said, hey, it's going to be 48 days until we can address your ticket, and also here's an automated advice for you, and it didn't work, so I have to wait the 48 days. I assume that'll go down, hopefully, as like people, actually got on the Zeppelin or whatever, and tickets that were wrongfully submitted are deleted. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a wait until my shaman's ready, apparently.
Dear God. Okay, well, I wish you luck in that. But anyway, yeah, I'm really impressed. I'm usually really impressed at the beginning of a WoW expansion, but it's different this time. Like,
it could be different each time, but in a different way. And it sounds like in a different, more so I'm saying, like, people say this every expansion, but it's okay to see each expansion because it's for a different reason.
Yeah. I've never just run around and collected things in WoW. It's never been something I've done. And it's also had this knock-on effect where I'm farming a shit ton. Because I'm flying everywhere, collecting all these things, and I'm constantly seeing like mining veins, so I'm just always stopping, and I made like 5,000 gold the other day.
I have no framework. I assume that's a small amount these days.
It's a relatively small amount, but I don't try to make money, and so I was just like, I'm just gonna hawk off this ore while the getting's good, and I made a chunk of cash, and I'm vibing, man. It's it's really accurate to the last time I was in school, because I would rather be playing Dragonflight than doing my schoolwork.
You're almost done. Just squeezing that in there.
Almost done.
History repeats itself.
It's cool, and it also could just be me, but I have this sense of calm. Like, I'm playing this and I'm playing Final Fantasy 14, and I do not have a sense of FOMO with either.
Yeah, I can feel that. Like, the games are so, and as treating it like an action RPG, the games are so different. my time in Final Fantasy 14 is not like burning me out for WoW. And in that way, if WoW was hitting like with, hey, check out these like really detailed stories and you got to read everything, there would be some clash there. Like both can exist for me because they are such insanely different games, particularly when you get into like talent points and hopefully, the way dungeons work. And if they continue to improve that in the way I want to see, late game go as a pop in Diablo like experience. By the way, Diablo's making a bunch of noise today. They're tweeting all about like Lilith on the way. I don't know what that's about, but apparently they're getting close to an announcement.
Maybe we have a release date around the corner.
Yeah?
The demo at BlizzCon 2019 was
long
good.
ago.
That was so long ago, dude. So I like Diablo. I didn't grow up with it. I had a lot of fun with 3. I would have happily played a lot more, but they never made it anymore. And so I'm down for Diablo 4.
And I'm more than okay with the Diablo kind of play style where my character says like one line of 0 importance per chapter. Like Diablo, you walk in there and Necromancer says, there's death in here. It's like, great reveal, Necromancer. Way to include yourself in the story. It's all about atmosphere. And leveling for me in Dragonflight will take off, pun intended, when the atmosphere comes together. Right now, I'm not really feeling the atmosphere, the immersion of where I'm at. So it's a co-op game for me.
I like that it's just pretty right now. I mean, the zone they dump you out in, it's just a pretty place to be. I love how WoW does grass on rocks. There's a lot of like really nice, pretty green grass on top of like obsidian, and it's just concept arty as shit, and I love it.
I like how much mobility I have on my Drakthir. Like I'm dashing, I'm soaring, I'm hovering.
I swapped over, so I'm leveling my old main, my paladin, that I downed Arthas with all the way back in the day, and after playing the Drakthir, holy shit, do paladins feel immobile.
Dude, I have 0 interest to check out my priest. The feathers. Did you ever play a priest? I think this is since Legion.
Where you drop the feathers to give yourself a speed boost?
Yeah, it's the lamest thing on the planet.
Oh, I loved doing the feathers.
No, it's so clunky, like leaving feathers out in front of you when I literally just take off flying in this game.
Oh, no, dude. Now I'm sure. I'm by comparison.
0 patience.
Back in the day, I loved it. I felt like such a badass when in PvP when I would like instantly drop one in front of me and get away from the rogue trying to gank me. It's a good time. You do it at the cliff at Lumber Mill, and you jump off and you cast Slow Fall, and you land in Blacksmith, and you start healing everybody, and you just piss the opposing team off because suddenly there's a healer. It's great.
Wow. How many spells did it just take for you to do what Drakthir does in one button? Right? Like that's kind of the power creep. I don't care. Feeling.
I feel cool. Kyle, I choose to drive a manual car.
If there's one, I'll join the critiquers. I am on the side of prove it, Blizzard, prove it, Dragonflight. But I will not listen to Drakthir being lame anymore. I've fallen in love with my lizard folk, and I'm gonna call them that in my head to make sure I don't think of them as real dragons, because there's real dragons everywhere and they look cooler than me. But as a lizard folk who happens to have wings, Thundarius is an excellent person.
I'm not here to say Dragonflight is a great expansion because you can't tell that until the end, but I am here to say I was wrong about Drakthir. They're fun as hell. So, anyways, shout out. We got WoW related super chats during all this too. Chris wished us a happy Thursday and said they were curious about our Dragonflight insights so far. And then Igzorn said got to level 70 in 2 days, 16-hour playtime, and I didn't even try to rush. It happened while doing side quests. I've heard this. I've heard a lot of people are reaching max way before they're done with the campaign. And I'm assuming it's because you're doing side quests, because I'm only 61. And to the folks in chat saying, you just posted a video yesterday, but you won't be playing WoW. You clearly didn't watch the video. I recommend you go give it a watch.
Oh, yes. The video is why we're not switching to WoW.
We've got a title reader in the chat right now.
But no, I'm down to address that idea. Like I said, even in that video, like for me, this is a lot of journalism too. Like I am loving Final Fantasy 14, and in order to critique what'll hopefully be an arms race of MMOs actually competing with each other for the first time. We have some actual, like, genuine improvement on the horizon. Hopefully, pressure from DreamWorks and Pixar to make better movies. Hopefully, we all win out of this and everything improves.
Yeah.
But no, I mean our video ended up on the Asmongold subreddit. Like, it's been a little busy. There's been a lot of opinions flying around about that. You can also go watch us on our recent live stream, watch the entirety of the Preach video. Preach Gaming put out a big interview roundup that they did at Blizzard. And we have some harsh things to say. Preach is a great platform for that conversation. It's worth checking out. Not only our react, but the actual Preach video.
Oh, it's fantastic. As a content creator, I was mad impressed with how that was put together.
Speaking of arms races, holy crap, like YouTube, there are things I see on Hulu that have lower production value than...
Can we go off script for a second?
What?
Can we do a bit here just about what we've been watching?
On like YouTube?
Well, in general, because I also want to talk to you about Chainsaw Man.
Oh,
and
okay.
I didn't warn you ahead of time, but yeah, let's start with YouTube because I think there's an embarrassment of riches with YouTube documentaries. Like specifically the last week, I watched obviously Preach's Inside Blizzard video, which is incredible. But I know we both watch this channel. And we never talk about it. Defunct Land.
From time, like on suggestion, I've seen maybe 2.
Okay,
so I can't speak to it well.
Defunct Land put out a doc about who wrote the Disney Channel bumper song.
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like Disney Channel for me was a thing I got excited about in the 90s when we were at a hotel that had it. And the bumper song was a thing around the 2000s, around the time of Hannah Montana. So I have no nostalgia whatsoever. It was one of the most captivating documentaries I've ever watched. It's so well made.
Yeah.
I know it's like Kevin Perger is the dude who does it, but I do believe he works with a small team. It's impeccable. Like it's the kind of thing, you know what I'm talking about. Like the thing you dream of making as someone that makes stuff.
Sure.
Like it's so good.
YouTube documentaries, that's the main thing. Like YouTube documentaries are just insane. You still got all your React content, all your gameplays. I think probably the biggest channel I enjoy regularly is like Markiplier. I really like horror games, so and I don't actually want to play a lot of indie ones because they're horrifying or they're jank, and I like watching somebody else do that instead. But when it comes to documentaries on YouTube and informative content, it is just blowing anything away on multiple networks.
Yeah. And then I think it was a couple weeks ago, but the new No Clip doc on Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh, I didn't know they did one on
fantastic.
that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. It's a deep dive, man. It's a deep dive, and also I'm gonna play some Roller Coaster Tycoon over the holiday break.
You get it on your phone, man. It's a good port.
I got OpenRC2 on the PC, which if you haven't tried it, man, get it. It's amazing seeing Roller Coaster Tycoon in 4K, and it works and it scales properly. It's amazing. But yeah, docs are real good on YouTube right now. Like hot damn, some good stuff. But yeah, you and I have a contentious relationship with anime that I would like to address.
Dive into a little bit.
Yeah. You're a hipster. Think highly of yourself, subtitle watcher, and I'm a dirty, really picky dub watcher. Like I don't consume a lot of anime. I don't want to read. So I also tend to wait to consume my anime. Like it's usually old by the time I get to it. I guess they're getting better about simultaneous anime release with dub and sub, right?
Yes.
It's not as bad as it used to be. But you were going on and on and on and on and on and on.
How much?
What?
That's a lot of ons. What am I? What
You
was
were
I?
going on and on about Chainsaw Man.
Oh, that's too many ons. I would say I was going on and on, perhaps.
You were selling me hard. I feel like you were selling me hard.
That's because I was confused. Because after we had that talk about cyberpunk and computerization anime, and I don't really like it at all. Or I should say I didn't. But then I watched Chainsaw Man. And I was like, I'm actually kind of digging this. And something also weird happened while I was gone. I watched Hellsing Unlimited or Ultimate, one of those.
Okay.
I bought these DVDs back in college and I watched them on a TV that wasn't HD. I'm rewatching it now as like a background noise, like taking care of the baby, late night sort of thing. I also really like the dub. I like the English voice actors. It's got computerization all throughout it. But I didn't know back in the day when I watched it because I was watching it on a non-HD TV circa like 2008. So all the computerization just kind of fuzzed out and didn't matter to me. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I remember the earliest I remember seeing that kind of shit was like I would say 1.5 wave. I wouldn't quite say second wave Toonami, like 1.5 wave Toonami when they had Blue Sub 6. That was the first time I ever remember seeing 3D in my anime. Probably doesn't hold up now. I haven't watched it since. It's
jarring, but doing it as a total style, the whole thing in that, and Chainsaw Man seemed to have the production value that was matching a hand animated effort.
Yeah. So what I was teeing up was that you talked a lot about Chainsaw Man and you went pretty deep into the 3D of it, and you really put me in a place where I was against it, like from the get-go, because I saw images and I didn't love the head design. I think it's kind of goofy with the I get that that's kind of the intent with the chainsaw coming out, but I'm like, yeah, the arms look so cool. You ruined it with the head. This is me, my personal thing. I'm weird. I get it. And then you're like, oh, and then they go 3D for the action sequences, and I'm like, oh, it's got a stupid head and it's 3D. I don't know if I can do this. But while you were gone, my whole Twitter feed, it was just nothing but Chainsaw Man this, Pochita that. And I'm like, fine. I was, and I didn't know how to see it. I assumed it was just on Crunchyroll, and I don't have a Crunchyroll sub, but I was perusing Hulu, and it's on there. I was like, oh shit, I have easy access. There's nothing stopping me. And I found myself hitting play. And I love it. I really like it, Kyle.
Nice.
It's hilarious. The 3D is the opposite of Cyberpunk, which is good and well executed.
It's a stylistic choice, whereas for Cyberpunk, it was a money-saving device. And
it looked like it. It really looked like it. It was the Disney equivalent of those flat fences they put up when there's construction.
You can go over to our Patreon, find the special episode we put out, the spoiler cast.
I loved Cyberpunk 2077. I will watch it again, but the 3D in the final 2 episodes supremely bummed me out. But the 3D in Chainsaw Man doesn't take me out of the show. It really matches, and sometimes they even use it for effect that they straight up wouldn't be able to achieve otherwise. The most recent episode, there's a shot of this is not a spoiler. It's just like there's a moving shot of someone on a bed, and the background's 3D, the character's 2D, and the background is slightly jittering. And there's a reason it should be doing that, and it just works. It just blends. It works. It helps tell the story and sell the story, as opposed to feeling like a visual I need to get past to enjoy it. So it's just, it doesn't, at this point, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't even mention that this has 3D to anyone. I don't think it's worth mentioning because it feels seamless to me. So watch it, because to me, it's just a really good anime. It's legitimately hilarious. It's basically elevated boner comedy. Like, it's like one of the best American Pies I've ever seen with superpowers. It's extremely violent, which I'm a big violence fan. It's a weird thing to say, but I love violence.
It's important media. If you're going to recommend it. Like, you do need to let people know.
There's horrifically violent. Yeah. Like, if you're not into blood, guts, and gore, do not watch Chainsaw Man. But yeah, it's legitimately hilarious. The violence is so over the top and wonderful. If you're like me and you grew up with Evil Dead, you're going to eat it up. And It's got a lot of heart, like a weird amount of heart. It's oddly touching. Like, I love it. It's a great show. I'm absolutely smitten.
I'll fire it up again. I wanted to
Yeah.
binge it. It was too linear, you could say. It was too segmented. Like, my favorite anime right now is Spy X Family, and each episode has a contained small story in the greater story. A lot like how Avatar: Last Airbender did it, like to put things on a pedestal. Each episode is an episode for the most part. Two-parters happen, but you watch one 30-minute episode and you go, that was a complete story. I wasn't getting that from Chainsaw Man, so I want to binge it. Same thing with later seasons of Game of Thrones. Like, I just put it away and I'll watch it all in one big go.
Most television is linear.
Yeah, and I find it too frustrating to watch week to week. So I'm fine.
I had built up a backlog, and we burnt through the first 6 episodes in like 2 days.
Yeah, that makes me more positive on something like this.
Yeah. And now we're week to week. Are you caught up?
No, I stopped at episode 3.
That's right. Most recent episode. I don't even want to get into it, but it left me breathless.
Go on.
Week to week's going to be hard now, is what I'm going to say. I was fine with week to week until the most recent episode. It hurts. It's hard. It's going to be very difficult. Like, I'm officially impatient. So, yeah. Watch Chainsaw Man, I guess.
This is recommendation right there. Watch Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. I fell off Demon Slayer. It spun its wheels for too long.
It does spin those wheels a lot.
I get what you're saying with Chainsaw Man, but every episode it feels like something happens, and it feels like the characters grow a little bit every single episode, and I love it. I love that in any fiction.
What I don't want is reset. Like, that's the frustrating side of episodic format. Like, Aang was a child and grew up, but I couldn't deal with Ezra, for instance, because each episode he was making the same mistakes. I realized that changed, and the show moved away from that. The
first season of Rebels is honestly my least favorite of Rebels.
Right, or even like My Witch Academia, I think it's called. Like,
My Hero? Did you say My Witch?
Yeah, there's one that's called My Witch Academia or something like that.
Okay.
It's about it's like a wizard school for witches, but they just learn how to trust each time, and her faults are always the same. It's done by Trigger, so I was interested because I love...
Little Witch Academia, yeah. Chad is saying.
I'm a really big fan of their messy style. Like, when action goes, I really like how they stretch people. It's something that Overwatch did really well.
That's what I like about Fully Cooley so much.
Yeah, that's one. And Hellsing does the same thing. Like, Alucard's arms are constantly in flux for how long they are based on the stylistic vision of the moment. And I really, really like that stuff.
Anything to help with that Carmen Sandiego ass looking costume in that show is good for me.
The hat changes sizes too. Yeah, you do not cosplay Alucard unless you had arm extenders. It just doesn't work.
He's too lanky.
He's literally in flux. Like, he take 2 images and they're completely different next to each other, and that's how the manga is too.
Alucard is what I imagine Jack Skellington looked like with skin.
Yep. Yeah, and a hat. And a big hat. With some continuity problems on the size of said stop motion tiny hat that they use.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I meant to tell you I wanted to talk about this today, so here it is, unscripted, shoved in the middle of the episode.
All right, there it is. So yeah, Dragonflight. We'll see. I'm having a friend into it, of course, helps a lot. So I'm really glad you're enjoying yourself. We've talked many times on this show about your legitimate passion for it, and just love the look and feel of WoW. So I'm glad you're digging it. I look forward to playing with you.
It's it's very pretty. I've had to endure a lot of WoW art hate this week, so I just want to say that I think Dragonflight looks incredible.
Yeah, that's also just the style. What I often call mental graphics. Like, I mean, Darkest Dungeon is essentially like a weird kind of chibi, scrunched up character look. But once you understand the language, you're like, oh my god, that my monster's badass.
Darkest Dungeon is Mike Mignola.
But it's
they're just doing the Mike Mignola
But
thing.
they do these little scrunchy characters. Like, it's a really weird, it's definitely that style, and I love it. But the characters you play as and the monsters you fight are kind of you know, they're like miniaturized, like you would for a little like tabletop game.
Thought you were going to talk longer, and I was clearing my throat.
No, I talk about other
Well-
video games right now, but the things I all had my eye on are kind of disappointing me at the moment.
I've gotten started in Ragnarok, by the way, but I don't want to get into it yet because I'm not that deep, and also you're not playing it right now.
No, I don't have the PlayStation.
Yeah, if
for it.
anyone's just got an extra PlayStation laying around, you want to
spare
send it to
PlayStation.
Kyle. Just a spare PlayStation, preferably a 5, because I can't imagine playing this game on a 4.
I mean, I loved playing through God of War 2018. I love the advancement of the character, how that game kind of grew with me. You know, as a dad, it definitely helped. Like, you know, seeing little legs flop when you're carrying him, like, you know, that stuff hits you a lot harder. But
Oh, if you're okay, so I know you've been having feelings about, they grow up so fast recently. It's going to hit you like a ton of bricks at the beginning of Ragnarok. It is just going to crash down upon you. I'm not a dad. I was like, my emotions were cosplaying your emotions while I was playing the beginning of Ragnarok. I'm like, oh, this is going to wreck Kyle.
Yeah.
It's just going to wreck him.
I mean, granted,
so yeah.
my oldest is not, you know, becoming a teen or whatever. I'm sure they explore quite a bit of that in this game.
The spirit, like just kind of the theme of it.
Yeah.
Just, oh my God, how quickly we progress as people.
But it's not enough just as a personal decision to warrant the purchasing of a PlayStation yet. Like,
I feel that. I feel that.
Larger catalog. But outside of that, like Darktide released. It was a game I was really, really excited about. I love Vermintide. I played in the beta of Darktide and was kind of like, oh, we only have like 4 maps or tile sets. What, like, there's an entire universe of Warhammer that we can visit, and we're kind of just sticking to the industrial side. Is this just like the maps you have for beta? And that's not the case. Like, those are the maps.
Oh no, they don't have like you don't go to like Tyranid planets or anything like that.
No, you basically kind of stick to factory world slime.
That's a bummer.
Sewer thing, and you fight. You know, you fight hordes, but the Ratmen were just so cute and had so much
set
personality.
entirely on a hive city. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah,
I just kind of assumed there'd be more biomes.
There's quite a bit of customization. I thought so too. Like, we would go to lava, even if it stayed dark in theme. We'd go to lava worlds. We'd go to, you know, a super sun planet that was destroying things with a wave of fire. Like, whatever. Like, there's so many worlds to visit and so many enemy types in the Warhammer 40K universe. But we really stick to that chaos enemy type. And that's okay, like, if you like blowing away zombies and Left 4 Dead. But Left 4 Dead has that Toy Story factor, right? Like, Toy Story, half the fun is watching Buzz and Woody parkour about like a normal room, but they're small. And
I'm not sure I follow.
And Left 4 Dead has that feel because you go into, you know, you make your way through an apartment building and you go down to the corner store and you find pills in the bathroom. Like, there's this apocalypse feel that you go, oh, I know this place. And I think that's something that Dead to Die? What the heck what was that thing called that we
Dead
played?
by Daylight?
No. The Left 4 Dead creators went off and made a new game and it kind of fell flat, but
shit, I forget. What was it called? I liked it.
5 Dead Days. So, you know, something like that.
Not Evolve. Back for Blood.
Back for Blood.
You're screwing with my brain because I'm like, is there even a D
it's
in the
just words.
title?
Like, it's just words.
Word soup.
Yeah, but that, you know, that had that feeling too, like defend the library. Ultimately, like the enemy types with the kind of the worm thing going on got kind of weird, and you know they had other issues, just like over repeating voice lines that made it frustrating to play. But there's not that feeling inside Warhammer Darktide because you're not experiencing new things. You see like a skull that's hooked up to read a scroll and you're like, that's badass. And like all the computers in that world are people that were inserted into machines for the glory of the Emperor. Like, there's so much cool stuff to explore, but ultimately it doesn't have that charm and personality that Vermintide had. And Fat Shark has gone and they kind of cash shopped it a little bit. It's all like really cosmetic, but their big improvement from beta to release was the cash shop. All the suggestions that was sent their way, those were all ignored in effort to get the game up and running with a cash shop. So right now, if you love Left 4 Dead and you want more of it and you have the friend group ready, yeah, you'll have a good time. But it's not something that's ready for consumption, I'd say, for most people.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then Callisto Project, the other game I'm really excited about, was accidentally streamed on Twitch or purposely streamed on Twitch. Someone like found a copy or pirated a copy, played through the whole thing. It's 16 hours long.
How long was the dude, the space mechanic? Dead Space.
Dead
How
Space.
long was Dead Space?
You know, that's a good question. However, the reviews are coming out too at a flat 5 out of 10.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've got an overly short game.
Dead Space 1 is 11 hours.
Oh, if you haul. Okay. I'm also like the slowest person on the planet playing games.
Yes, you are. Also, I want to point, this is a popular opinion right now for people in our age group, but I am definitely among them, that a short playtime is a selling point to me right now.
True. I felt that way about Resident Evil Village.
I have enough endless games in my life. I don't need another. I do not need a JRPG length third person adventure game.
Yeah, no, I liked the Village and its length, and in fact, all the Resident Evils have, even though they can be pricey per hour, they just have decent pacing that makes it that interactive movie, and I don't want any more than that.
They're also extremely well polished.
That too. They like, outside of what was it, like some bugs that flew around you a little too hard and messed with your frame rate. That was also an issue when you were like running through the castle in Resident Evil Village and the frame rate was bad because you were supposed to find this door that was actually hidden in the wall while you were running infinitely. So the frame rate attacked at a really bad point when you're supposed to be able to find like a secret and you're running from the boss.
Or we also live in a world where we can't even depend on Nintendo games to perform well anymore. So
you're right. I take it back. I take it back. Being down on Callisto Project for being 16 hours long, that's not the right call. But seeing the length mixed with a just real lame review, and because that footage went up, pictures of the final boss have been circling around, and it's looking kind of lame. It's looking like they didn't have anywhere to go.
First of all, that sucks. That all that's been leaked, but also it aligns with my current view of the game, which is it looks really generic and not like something that I'm particularly interested in playing.
Yeah, clearly the developer who did the thing and strikes out on their own, is not the formula for instant success that I think a lot of us would hope for. And I'm not talking about
it's rough because you want to root for them.
Yeah,
like I want to see success there, but I enjoyed Back 4 Blood enough. I would like to go back to it and actually beat it.
It'd be fun to see it through.
Yeah, but it's fine. I can wait.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, or maybe it has.
Nothing in.
Is it off Xbox Game Pass? That's a big deal to me if it is, because I'll be waiting even longer.
I think I bought it because I didn't know it was on Game Pass. I'm pretty sure it's on Steam.
Oh no!
I think I don't remember. Sometimes I buy things and I forget. That's called Steam. That's what you do. You buy and you forget.
I mean, sometimes like it depends on the game, right? Like if it's something I'm really gonna experiment with in long term, like I have no interest in playing Slay the Spire on Xbox Game Pass. That's just a game I want to own, and I've definitely done that a number of times with the Epic Store too, where I'm like, no, this is something I want on Steam. This is something I'm really gonna chew on for a long time, and I want to see it in my library there.
Well, I want to chew on some questions and see them in my mailbag. So.
Oh wait, hang on. Is Darktide on Xbox Game Pass?
Such a wonderful segue.
I know it was really good. I apologize, but it looks like Darktide might be on Game Pass actually. Well, that's good.
It was on PC
good.
Game Pass.
Yeah,
on PC Game Pass. Oh. Well, okay, because we got so many things. We have so much extra time.
I know.
Yeah, there's not 2 MMOs we currently want to stream.
Back 4 Blood is still on it's still on Game Pass. So yeah, we can still do that sometime. Anyway, your delicious segue, please.
Yeah, thank you for ruining it like hair in a wonderful meal.
Hello there.
Send your emails to feedback@startgrindinggear.com, or if you're supporting us on Patreon or you're a member of the YouTube membership, we have a dedicated chat for you in our members only chat channels in our Discord. It's called Questions for the Hosts. throw them in there. And we pull from there and bring them in here. Ray's kicking us off. This came from our Discord. Said, with the blow up in players following you two around in Final Fantasy XIV since Shadowbringer started, do you think MMOs should have streamer options like the ability to hide other players? Or what tools would you like streamers to have in game? For the most part, this doesn't bother me. I think in Shadowbringers, people have been a little more in our face than I would like them to be. You're muted at the moment, Kyle.
We did a stream before I left, so now 3 weeks ago. But everyone
I never want to see those B mounts again.
Well, the B mounts are a whole different thing because they're noisy. But we let people know we wanted to have a little more room, particularly because we're filming for our videos and stuff, and people instantly responded. So that was awesome. So can't complain. It's very much up to the streamer based on your community and what you've built to inform the audience what you're looking for in that way. And our audience was extremely receptive when we wanted to change that this last time. That was awesome.
Yeah. Make yourself a part of the scenery.
But I laugh.
Is what we request.
I laugh because yesterday, or I guess it would have been Monday, there were hordes of Battle.net forum posts about how people were putting together class action lawsuits because streamers were getting in the game and they weren't. And so I don't think streamer tools would go off very well with the audience at large. Now, of course, these people were accusing Blizzard of giving WoW streamers fast lanes so they could stream the game and advertise it for them, which doesn't exist.
So I didn't see this, but I on the day when we couldn't get in, I did go over to Twitch, and I was because I was curious, could anyone get in? And first thing I click on, because it was at the top, Asmongold, of course, he was in. And then I was like, this seems fishy. The next 6 we're looking at, we're stuck the same place we were. And then number 7, whoever that was in and playing. And then it was just a random assortment. Some people were in, some people weren't. I didn't hear about that. MMO players are so fucking dramatic.
They have a reason to be. So in general, my perspective is that
I by the way, I am a dramatic MMO player.
Sure, but it's an interesting conundrum. It's a fascinating fallacy because of all the streaming content creators in the world, MMO content creators are hated the most. Just people hate streamers. And I know from the past,
speaking pretty generally,
absolutely. I'm just talking about if you're doing a video game and there's hate for streamers, MMO people tend to have a larger audience or size of people wishing that hate. And in the past, a lot of it was that people who streamed or made content are, of course, more casual players because you're spending 6 hours in editing. You don't play the game as much as your audience. So there's some frustration that builds there. I remember particularly back in the instance days, long ago, there was a lot of pressure on Scott Johnson because he would say things that a casual player would enjoy, and then those things would happen in the game and people would accuse him of casualizing World of Warcraft and making it a worse product. But I think ultimately what a lot of it comes down to is that MMOs take a huge amount of time to play, particularly in our old design philosophies. Hopefully we're moving away from those now. But you view a streamer as the enemy because they can play the game more than you can. And that the resentment grows and grows until you just kind of hate streamers. And so I think there's a large audience there that just instantly jumps on the class action lawsuit. That's ridiculous. I don't even know the legal terminology of that, and I doubt they do either. But they were raised.
It's hilarious. You have absolutely no possible way of proving or disproving this. You've nothing.
Yeah.
What are you do?
Even you mentioned in the back of your mind there was a little oh, that's suspect Asmongold being in and no one else.
Because my brain works the same way. But then
we're all conspiracy
I move
theorists
on
at
with
the end
my
of the
life.
Day. Yeah.
Of course, my brain works that way. But also, let's full devil's advocate this for a moment. Okay. I'm gonna really. I don't believe what I'm about to say.
Oh no, but it can be edited in SoundCloud.
I don't believe what I'm about to say, but let's
do
say,
it like a techno song. Do it like a techno song you don't want edited. Like,
let's say it. Let's. All right. So Mr. Bobby Kotick is sitting up in his office where he has nothing better to do than to yell edicts for how World of Warcraft is going to give access to special streamers.
Garrett doesn't
right?
believe this.
Yeah. Okay. He's sitting up there. He goes, all right, listen, before I leave this weekend to swim around in my gold hot tub on my yacht, I just want you to know, I make sure Asmongold gets in. I need to make sure Asmongold gets into World of Warcraft because I need the $2 extra of the conversions that he's going to give out there to go towards my 17th private jet. I need that. So even if that was true, like how many World of Warcraft streamers got that privilege they clearly got, even though like when I went and checked it out, like 3 of the top 10 streaming were actually in and playing Dragonflight. How many would it be where it actually had any noticeable effect on you getting in to play Dragonflight? 50, 100 streamers? If it was 500 streamers, it doesn't matter. They're not all playing on the same server. They're sharding. There's so many factors. Like, who gives a shit?
But that's not Ray's question. I don't think this was ultimately Ray's question, but it was on my mind.
No, it's not. But you brought it up, and
yeah.
So yeah. No. You this is your fault, Kyle.
Yes, I'm misrepresenting Ray. I apologize. Like the ability to hide other players and give those stream tools would be fun. I mean, obviously, like there needs to be greater moderation in language, particularly when things can be yelled. This isn't a factor in Final Fantasy, but in World of Warcraft, there's certain yells and like tells or raid announcements that can flash on the middle of your screen, and people could write whatever they want in there, knowing you're a streamer, and cause that to display. Like those sort of things, those sort of tools are essential because, particularly on Twitch's end, Twitch holds you responsible for anything that ends up on your screen, regardless of if it was your intention or your words, your audience, whatever.
Such display was not my intention.
Exactly. So that would be great. Like help streamers protect themselves without having to cover chat boxes. And a lot of that is just moderation by real human beings that, take care of people. And when you report them on stream, work with the streamer to get their stream unblocked. Like if someone says something in the middle of your screen and makes those words appear in flash, and you go through the report process of them, and then Twitch says, yeah, but it still happened. Like the company working with the Twitch would be a really nice show of good faith there. But that takes human beings, communication, hours, everything's trying to go automated for cheapness too.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at the recent, like Sony did this whole like huge conversation negotiating with Microsoft, and they're finally reaching a deal about Activision Blizzard for Call of Duty. Like we have to admit at the end of the day, we're in an MMO environment, but we're not that big. Like it's not, these games aren't huge like Call of Duty is. Or FIFA.
They're not negligible either, though. Like you still like everyone. Yeah, WoW ain't the 12 million sub peak that it was back in Wrath of the Lich King and the start of Cataclysm, but still, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah, but I
don't know what they're at, and they're not telling the numbers anymore. But what, if it's even if it's like as low as 3 million, $15 a month, that's still that's a money printing machine.
As for like just like turning and hiding other players, I think I would enjoy that casually without a streamer account or being checkmarked by a company. Like just have that option for people who want to play through a game without seeing other people jump all over the king or dance on mailboxes.
That's the only other thing I can think of is that's where my brain goes. I legitimately haven't, at no point have I thought to myself, boy, do I wish I could have X so that I could just be left alone. Like to me, it's part of the damn reason I've been so charmed by Final Fantasy XIV is just the social interaction of all of it. Like I'm coming from World of Warcraft. We don't have in-game housing. We don't go party in our sexiest clothes in an original vanilla city. Like the beginning of every expansion, it's like, that's it, party's over, off to the new city. Which thank God, Ouroboros was like the most boring airport you could ever hope to be stuck in Shadowlands.
Okay.
Or Ouroboros is that? I don't even remember what the name is.
Yeah, I didn't know the name, but I've seen pictures.
Here I am in the Undeath expansion. Let's go to the airport, everybody. That's how it felt. It was not my favorite city. I'd rather go back to Shatrath. Shatrath was the superior circle city, as far as I'm concerned. They're all kind of circle. I guess Dalaran's a grid, but I digress. You know what? You should just always do Dalaran. All the good expansions of Dalaran as their city. Just do Dalaran again.
Isn't Gridania the Dalaran? Like that's not my favorite.
Well, is Gridania the Dollar? Gridania is the worst. Is objectively the worst city in Final Fantasy XIV.
So I'm talking about like theme, not necessarily layout.
Gridania is just a bunch of like hedges.
It's messy.
This is my favorite bar though. I love the Roost in Gridania. That's a cool ass bar.
Pretty good. If I'm gonna in though, I do go to. Actually, sometimes I go to Ishgard. I really like that rundown with the fireplace looking Ishgard.
I love Limsa. And man, when I got into Final Fantasy XIV and I started there and I went to Limsa for the first time, I'm like, why are there so many people here?
Well, now we're getting, this conversation is starting to gravitate towards the conversation of why WoW doesn't have active role-playing communities or people who just log in and hang out. And a lot of it is this, digestion and destruction of previous
WoW
cities.
does have it, but it's always in the new city, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to go, stand on a mailbox, show off your tier set. If it is if it's an expansion where they had tier sets, which they've been gone for a little while, but they're coming back. But yeah, I digress. Yeah, there's really no tool I want. If you didn't want to see other players, I think there's plenty of players out there who aren't streamers that would want that tool. I'm with you, Kyle.
Yeah, language control. That's my main thing. Like, just give the streamers the tools to make sure that they're not held responsible for audience members and their tomfoolery.
Has anyone ever been? I don't want to get. Jack Lee says, "I have a question. I'm curious. Has anyone actually been cracked down on because someone said something horrible in a game that they were streaming?
Yeah, no, that's happened a lot. There's a lot of
Has it?
Yeah, that got banned temporarily. A lot of the times, it's assumed, like sometimes it's villainy of the audience members who submit the tickets to Twitch and say, "Oh, the streamer was being bad," but oftentimes it's based on the assumption that they didn't go far enough. Like so-and-so had words display on screen and they're like, "Hey guys, not cool," and report. But people felt that it was under addressed, that the streamer didn't make a big enough deal about it. And therefore,
it happened to Asmongold.
Yeah, this is the exact situation that happened to Asmongold.
That's the stupidest
and
shit.
The reason why it completed and he got banned for a time.
I don't even look at my chat when I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, and I feel bad because I miss a lot of whispers. I'm sorry, everybody, but I'm usually streaming if I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, so I'm not keeping a very close look on my chat. But like, I don't even look. That's ridiculous.
No, and I streamed competitive games for years with Heroes of the Storm, and there was, of course, people would be vulgar, and it was your responsibility as a member of Twitch to. Every time that came up, and it was exhausting to address it properly, ban the person, and then address your audience again to make sure it was clear that you do not agree with what just happened on screen. Because otherwise, what happened to Asmongold could happen to you.
That should be on that should be on Twitch. That should be on the makers of the video game. Moderate your own shit if you want your free advertising.
I agree with that. Anyway,
Jack Lee writes in and says, "I have a question. What's your absolute favorite trope in video games and why? What's the best execution of that trope? And do you have any examples in media?" Ooh, this is a rough one. I know I have answers to this, but I do not have them at the ready.
My favorite trope is like evolution or transformation.
Like as opposed to creationism?
No. Like when you see a person on a stick in Mass Effect and it lowers and they're now a husk. Or you are battling a dude and you blow off his arm, but then a bigger arm comes out of that hole that he just had. Xenomorphs.
So escalation.
Yeah, like visual representation of like I love the Nemesis system in Shadows of Mordor, like scars that would appear, like physically representing a story. And I would include in that to a degree like Prince of Persia losing all his clothes over the course of an adventure, or Batman his cape getting messed up in an Arkham Asylum game. But really, it's more on the monster side for what I really, really love. I love face huggers, face huggers become chest bursters, become xenomorphs, become queens or hive guardians or praetorians. Like I just eat it up. I love it.
I'm not sure if that's a trope.
Is it? Is it not?
Like I'm just not sure that's a trope, but it's like a storytelling device. I'm not sure if that's a.
But what is a trope? What is a trope?
Like the chosen one.
Oh, I think visual storytelling can also be a trope. But you're asking for like just.
I struggle between like tropes and archetypes. But yeah, like I don't know, like I would call like a love triangle in a rom-com a trope. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like I don't know you would call it, but we're about to finish our rewatch of Breaking Bad, and it made me realize I just love the archetype and kind of the trope of like the hapless assistant. Like Jesse is the reason I love Breaking Bad so much, and it's like you that exists in so much media. Like I love Pinky and Pinky in the Brain. Like I love the idiot assistant. But and especially in Breaking Bad's case with Jesse, it's like the scumbag with a heart of gold. Like he's this absolute like idiot street thug who literally manufactures drugs, but he has a incredible moral compass and heart. Like, and I love that. Patrick the SpongeBob is a good one. Although SpongeBob's also an idiot. That's just kind of Pinky and Pinky.
Yeah, the frustration of Brain. I mean, but then Brain's frustration self-sabotages, which is the comedy of it.
Pinky and the Brain are very analogous to Walt and Jesse.
Yeah.
Because Walt self-sabotages a shit ton. Gurr from Invader Zim. Oh, that's a good example from Senshi in our chat right now. I love that shit, man.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with mine as a trope. My answer's complete.
Okay, but I'm trying to think of an example of it in video games, and I'm coming up short.
What? Evolution and such?
No, I can't think of a hapless line. I can't think of like a hapless assistant example in video games. Actually, I don't like it as much as Atreus in the God of War 2018. He actually kind of annoys me in 2018.
Well, he goes hard. Like I was saying back when we did our kind of review of it, it almost felt like there was 4 hours of game that got cut because he just all of a sudden flipped the switch.
Yeah. Oh God, Claptrap. I hate Borderlands. Borderlands is just three really bloated examples of shit I don't find funny.
Borderlands comedy didn't capture me, but I did enjoy the co-op game of it.
It also has, I think, really lackluster shooting. Like, and all you're gonna do is shoot in that game, and it's just not very good shooting. Tataru's not hapless though. Tataru is like an absolute genius and the glue that holds the scions together.
Yeah, I haven't seen Breaking Bad, so I can't really help you out, nor have I finished.
But yeah, I guess, I don't like those games, but Claptrap would be a good example. Papalimo and Ida. Ida! Spoiler. I'm not going to get into that. Ida's a great example, actually. Okay. Yeah, Ida and Papalimo, and it's a reason I actually kind of don't like Papalimo because Papalimo is really mean to Ida, and I love Ida.
What about Slippy?
Slippy. Oh, I hate Slippy. Yeah, I shot Slippy every time.
But Slippy, he performs a service. You don't have the health bar on the boss if you don't have Slippy. But he's also always getting himself into trouble, always getting shot at, needing help.
Yeah, no, I hated Slippy. But I also had another one of my favorite tropes, which is the Vegeta type character in Falco, who was my favorite character in Star Fox.
Okay.
So Falco never becomes a bad guy, but you could easily go down that route. Falco might as well be the bad guy turned good guy.
No, he's a dick, but also Star Fox wasn't a complex enough game to like explore that.
Yeah, it might as well be the face turn. Like, so yeah, there's all that. I mean, I'd like like duos. I like I really love co-op games, but I guess also in like narrative with character pair-ups, I like just duos, and whether they're an absolute hapless assistant or not. Like the first Last of Us, I love Ellie, and she starts the game very like no, not the best street smarts. Well, I guess she has street smarts, but she's not like combat capable. But then she goes on this journey, by the end of it becomes pretty capable in her own right. So this is like all that kind of stuff, man. It's good. It's good. So yeah, I think we just dropped a lot of examples.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Monica Allensworth asks, and it's written this way. What's your favorite Little Mermaid song? To which my answer is, poor unfortunate souls.
Is there? I mean, there's good songs in there, but poor
Every
unfortunate
song's a
souls
banger
is
in
just
Little
so
Mermaid.
good.
I don't think there's a bad song in Little Mermaid.
And do I help them? Yes, I do. It's so freaking good. I mean, in
I'd
terms
say
of
the
like
most underrated song in Little Mermaid is Kiss the Girl. That's got a really catchy, really catchy melody.
Yeah. Little Mermaid's it's a good one. As far as like, you know, tier lists of villain songs though, I really do think Hellfire by Frollo in Hunchback of Notre Dame is like
You're going off. You're going off prompt.
Okay. All right.
You're going off prompt.
Okay.
You
Next question. Next question.
You got to keep it under the sea, Kyle.
Okay.
You got to keep it under the sea. Harry asks, what are your top 3 favorite controllers ever? To which I will troll response say Xbox 360, which is 3 controllers, because they just keep remaking that controller every time they make a new Xbox.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Actually, not true, though. The last 2 PlayStation controllers have been god tier. The PS5 and the PS4 controllers are, I think, the best controllers ever made.
So I really loved Xbox original controller. I know the joke is that it's for people with giant hands. And maybe I do have giant hands. I only know my own hands, and I think they're well proportioned to my 6'3" body. But but I loved that original Xbox controller. I thought it was fabulous. It was wide. I like, other than the buttons being much smaller.
The Duke?
The Duke? Is that what it's called?
The original Xbox One controller. That's so goddamn big that you had to go out and buy a different controller to have one that actually fit your hands.
No, God, no. I love that thing. But I might have giant hands.
Wow.
I loved it.
Wow. Yeah, no, we all fought to not use the Duke when it was Halo night. Like, because y'all had one. Everybody had one Duke because it came with the Xbox. And when it was Halo night at the friends' houses, because I didn't have an Xbox.
You would take a Monster Cat? Is that what they were called? Monster Cat?
Mad Cat.
Mad Cat. We would take a Mad Cat.
Microsoft put out an official Xbox One controller that was a normal freaking size.
Oh. I remember the initial
there was a
review.
Green one that all my friends had, but it was official Microsoft.
What was the magazine that
wonderful.
GameStop would push on you?
Game Informer?
Game Informer. Yeah, Game Informer said, I kind of remember this for some weird reason, but if you look close enough at the plastic dome on the original Xbox controller, you can see another wing being added to Bill Gates' bathroom, quote unquote.
It was like a joke.
It was, but it stuck with me because it was so weird that it had that bubble, like you were playing Sorry, and then it had like a little sticker of Xbox under it. You could practically see like the cardboard piece in there, like peeling up. It was a weird controller, but I really loved it. And I'm
say Xbox the Duke,
and I'm very emotionally attached to my Steam controller. I know it's a crap controller for 99% of games, but it's
really good for grid-based games.
Yes. It's good for like when you want to relax on the couch, but you might use a mouse, but you don't really have to. So you can go kind of halfway like XCOM.
There was a beautiful month where that's how I played Into the Breach.
Yeah. Oh, that
I would pour a little whiskey. I would lay under my blanket on the couch, and I would play Into the Breach with my Steam controller.
But ultimately, they made a controller that's horrible for first-person shooters, which was a dumb decision, and it gathers dust. But I did beat Witcher and Witcher 3 and all of the Dark Souls with my Steam controller, and I think it worked
Dark Souls on a Steam controller?
Yeah,
that seems horrible.
All you do is lock on, and then you're set. Like, you literally...
Oh my God, that sounds bad.
Yeah, that, like, radial, like, touchpad, like you're playing a golf game at the arcade.
My other issue with the Steam controller, I do think it's It's low key genius, but my other issue with it is I think the buttons are terrible. I hate the buttons on the Steam controller.
Are they too big? Are we finding a theme here? Do I have big hands?
No, they're just bad. They have a really unsatisfying press. It's vague. I don't know if it's activated or not. I think it has a really bad feedback of pressing the 4 face buttons.
Interesting. I can agree to. I think PlayStation has some of the better triggers. I really like PlayStation's triggers.
Later ones. I think the PS2 and PS3. I think PS2 and PS3 DualSense are the worst dual joystick controllers ever made. I think they're absolute crap. The PS3 especially because the triggers were convex. So yeah, I want my triggers to roll away from my fingers in the direction that I'm pressing down on them. That's a good design, you dipshits.
Yeah, no, it was bad, but I do, it developed, and for my third one, I'll throw in just the normal. Oh, I've just knocked it over, but my normal ass Xbox one here that I got. It's just great.
For me, first place is PS5, second place is PS4, third place is Xbox 360, and every Xbox controller that came after it because they're essentially the same.
No, this Xbox controller is essentially the mouse and keyboard. Like, to me, there's like no reason to change it. It's just you can do all the car commercials you want about totally redesigning it. I don't give a crap. Like, we found it works. Yeah,
I love the GameCube controller, but it is strictly a Smash Brothers controller. I would not want to play anything else with it.
I agree with that. So, I did like using for Super Smash Bros. I like the arcade controller they put out, the little not arcade controller, but that was that white one, that was plug into the back.
As much as I make fun of the nipple C stick for any other game, it's exactly what I want for Smash Brothers, and a normal joystick isn't the same. I can't flick it as fast. I know why you're laughing, and I'm choosing not to engage with it.
Well, next question.
All right, bringing us home. Cadrick says, if you could go back in time and give a game or expansion another 6 months of well-funded development time, what would you pick and why? What knock-on effects might there be? I will not engage with what knock-on effects there will be. I'm not getting into a butterfly effect loop here.
Okay.
But, this is a good question. Do you have an answer?
If I could do it without the extra 6 months, Cyberpunk was going to come out right before my son was born, and I would have been able to play it fully through. And we're talking about like 3 years ago, whatever, right? Like when it was originally
You wanted to come out at the same time, but you just wanted to release not broken.
I wanted it to be great and release at its original release date because I would have played it full, and now I really have no interest because it's just a giant game that still kind of disappoints me. So,
yeah, I think Cyberpunk is the correct answer to this question.
Yeah, if it would have come out rocking, like that would have just been jolly.
Yeah. See, it's really a question of like what game released broken that you wish wasn't, because otherwise I'm like Mass Effect 3, but really I just want a different ending, and I don't think 6 more months would have fixed that.
I don't think 6 months would have helped, like without audience participation. Diablo 3 fix itself, but it would have been really nice to have Diablo 3 release in what it became eventually.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good answer, because you could say the same thing of like Shadowlands. It's like you just need to throw it wide, and you need that audience participation.
Well, I think World of Warcraft might be a tough example because of the way they develop and advance in such a slow order. Diablo
that's where a lot of
some big moves.
That's where my brain goes, because it's a lot of the games I play. Because otherwise, it's like, I don't know, throw a dart at a Bethesda release, because they're always a mess when they first come out.
Yeah, I mean, what EA Battlefront, that would have been one that in 6 months. But again, you need the audience participation.
You need the audience participation. Yeah. What a glow up that Battlefront 2 had. Went from one of the most offensive releases I've ever been a part of to one of the most beautiful full packages. Like, it's such a good game now. But we needed riots in the streets to get it there.
Oh, and there's games that like don't appeal to me or ultimately weren't good anyway. Like, yeah, it would have been great to give Andromeda another 6 months, but like it wasn't really.
The bugs weren't really the issue.
No,
they were a part of it, but like
the bugs ruined your immersion, but the immersion you had was not good anyway. So it was easy to fall out of it. They arcaded the combat on this RPG so hard that it wasn't really interesting to play in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, the big one I always come back to is the first Force Unleashed. It's like the game was a buggy shit fest. and like is the first time in my life I ever wanted a refund for a video game. So, you know, if it had come out where I didn't need to use a cheat to actually beat the game because I was hard locked on Vader and couldn't beat him, like his health just stopped going down.
Oh,
that would have been nice.
gross.
That would have been nice. So, yeah, I think Cyberpunk's the right answer, though. It's like, not that this has a correct answer, but I think that's the correct answer.
No, and not that Cyberpunk hasn't redeemed itself but it wasn't all I wanted to be. And we talked about that multiple times. You know, we wanted more of a GTA, like piss off the cops play box.
Yeah. You can piss off the cops, though. I've gotten in some chases in there, but I know it doesn't escalate.
Yeah.
Or maybe it does now. I think that was part of an update, but
I
digress.
A personal choice, and this will be my last one, is Phoenix Point. Phoenix Point was mad broken and lacked all the spirit and fun of XCOM.
What the hell is Phoenix Point?
Phoenix Point was the XCOM developers going off on their own and trying to basically remake XCOM without the XCOM property. So like our Callisto project.
Today.
Yeah.
Bit of a theme today.
And it's just halved. It's not good.
I have not even heard of this.
But you shouldn't have. Because it's not great. It is from the creators of XCOM. It has something that we just talked about earlier with my tropes, like when you injure a bad guy. I love this idea so much. You show up with like plasma weapons and you blast all the bugs away. And next time you face those bugs, they'll have like visual representations of their plasma armor being up because the enemy is evolving. So you kind of get in this cool back and forth as you try to like diversify your attack styles and make sure the enemy can't just counter if you're doing one thing over and over again. And you could think of like how
bad, so
that would be fun in like XCOM though, right? Like imagine, you know, because I too, like my strategy in XCOM always became grenade, you like find out where the enemy is, put everyone in Overwatch, grenade the wall explodes, enemy runs, everybody fires in one big go. That's my opener for the entirety of the game. And if the game like was evolving, you know, quote unquote living, breathing world, like, and countered you in that, it would be a more enjoyable experience.
Well, thank you for the questions, everybody. Keep them coming. Feedback at startgrindinggear.com or drop us a message in the questions for hosts channel in our members only chat, our Discord channel. It's the Grinding Gear Discord. Join it today. But if you're a patron or a YouTube member, you get those special channels. Speaking of which, let's give a wonderful shout out to our patrons supporting us over at supportourbromance.com. Do we have music today, Kyle? Oh, man, the man just takes some time off to bring life into the world and suddenly he forgets how to podcast. Oh, thank you so much to our patrons joining us since our last episode. Michelle, no last name given. Thank you, Michelle.
Heather R., thank you for joining us.
Doug, you rule. Thanks, Doug.
Michael S., thank you for your support.
Zero, thank you, Zero. Appreciate the support.
Jas, you're welcome here.
Jas is an awesome name. Jack H, appreciate it.
And Author Gamer, much appreciated.
If that's your actual name, I'm sorry for not redacting your last name. Gamer is a very cool last name. Usually do. And there's a very special level of patrons that we thank each and every episode. Those are our legendary level backers. Sean B, Mike R, Stephen J, Wayra E, Das, Cheesy Bob, and Sean with an EA B. Thank you for the support. If you want to be among those, check out our Patreon for details on how to become a legendary level backer. That's at supportourbromance.com. Thanks for the support, everybody. Other than that, around the table, back and forth, there's only two of us. We're in a segment. Yeah, Kyle, you're at Kyle Ferguson on Twitter. I'm at Garrett Art. You can follow us both at Garrett and Kyle. That's right. We have a joint account for all of the content that we make and for all of that content that we make outside of this podcast. Make sure you go and subscribe to youtube.com/amovetv. That is the Grinding Gear channel that is home to our videos, our live streams. We've had some questions about where to watch us live streaming recently. So I guess we're doing a poor job of promoting it. We live stream on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. That is the home for it. We're not on Twitch anymore. Go to youtube.com/AMOTV. Go subscribe and join us. We stream Monday, we stream Thursday, and once I'm done with school, we'll be streaming on Friday too. And I'm done next week, but
the holidays and
I'm actually going to my graduation too, which is on a Friday, so it's a little weird this month. But we're starting soon. It's going to be a soft launch.
Yeah, no, I'll be doing a little streaming on Friday, just hanging out. Be playing some Final Fantasy this week.
Yeah. So check it out. That's going to wrap it for this episode of the Grinding Gear podcast. Until next time, GG.
Take care.